Okay, Carlos, let's take a look at your ball bounce assignment and then go on to your excitement pose. And there it is. Okay. So overall, the timing and spacing is looking pretty good here. Like you definitely have the big parts of what needs to be here: the arcs, the sharp ends and outs and the bounce, the ease ends, and ease ends at the tops of the arcs, and all that is coming together pretty nicely. There's a few notes on that I have just like on the presentation of things. So when you're doing an assignment, always think about how the audience is going to see it, even if it's as simple as a ball bounce, because a lot of these things can make it look almost unfinished. And if you're not presenting everything as neatly and cleanly as possible, then it tends to look a little bit like almost like you stopped working on it in the middle of it. And so that's why I urge you to, like, anytime, this wasn't part of the assignment to have the ball rotate, but because it isn't rotating and you left these controllers on, it looks kind of odd that those controllers are on, but the ball is moving across there. If you turn those off, if you just go to up at the top of the Maya menu where all those things, and there's the thing that says show, that tab, if you click on that tab and go to NURBS curves and just turn them off, then what you turn in would look 10 times cleaner, just because it's not pointing out the fact that the ball isn't rotating. And again, that isn't part of the assignment, but it's also something that we just as humans see that, and it just looks like, why isn't that ball, why is nothing happening with that ball? If those were off, we wouldn't notice that at all, because there's no texture on the ball. And it also is just like in terms of presentation, like you don't want to have controllers on your character when you finally turn it in, because those become distracting as well. So again, this isn't going to take off from your grade or anything like that, but it's something, right, at least now, because later on in the future that will come up, and it'll be a little bit more pressing than for a ball bounce assignment. But yeah, something to know about. And same thing with the how you're starting the shot. Like you don't necessarily want to, even for a ball bounce, you want to give it some sort of introduction, and to have it start in just like in the middle of the air, it feels again like it's a little bit unfinished. So I would just move this over and have it start off screen like that. It's really simple, but it goes a long way. Like those little touches will make your animation stand out as like, okay, that is a very finished product. And again, not taking a grade off for that, but like it's just in the future those sorts of things will become way more important than for this assignment. Anyway, let's go into the timing and spacing. Like I said, the overall timing and spacing is looking pretty good for this ball bounce. I really like how you're getting, as it comes in, you're getting that nice spacing, and then as it goes out, it's a little bit less. Like you're decreasing over that time. And then again, nice arcs, really nice ease ins and outs here. Really good stuff through here. Really good spacing overall. Like I think that stuff is working really well. If I could just play this back. One more thing about presentation: this white blank spot, especially for me grading it, it makes it a little tougher. So I would just put this looping without anything on it. But yeah, that timing and spacing is working really well. Like it eases to a stop, and those little bits at the end. I would feel like there would be like one more little bounce after this one. You see how it like bounces and then stops right there? I feel like there would be one more little bounce and then an ease to a stop, and then but yeah, I think that the ease to a stop is a little bit too abrupt. One more thing that isn't part of the assignment doesn't say ease to a stop, so we don't need to worry about that. But tomorrow, next week's assignment is definitely part of the assignment, so I will go over that. I'll show you what you guys need to do to get that ease to a stop and make it look perfect. For this assignment, it feels like it's still a little too abrupt. Overall, looking pretty good though. Let's take a look at your planning. Again, this is more for you, and I think that that works really well. And your excitement poses. Okay. So, yeah, it looks like you went through a bunch of different excitement poses. I like how you're loosening up your drawings. I would say try one thing in terms of like your line control for your hand, just for your drawings. Try to avoid like going over like kind of scratchy. Like I tend to do that too. With your first poses, just try to draw that line as clean through as possible, and then build around it. It loosens you up a little bit more. So I took a drawing class, and all we did the first 2 weeks was draw circles. So we just like loosen our hands up and make sure that we're drawing that line cleanly. Like I said, I still kind of revert back to like the scratchy line syndrome, but yeah, that is just one thing to try to practice on. Again, these thumbnails are more for you, but it's something that can be helpful. All right, so you explored different poses. I like that, and you explored the same pose in different ways, which I like as well. Let's take a look. Okay, so staging is pretty good. Let me back to this. I don't know what was recording and what wasn't. It was kind of flickering on and off there. Okay, so for this pose, I feel like we're probably a little too close to your character. I would give your character a little bit of space with all of these poses. Like, we don't want to go too close with it. You know, even something back here would be pretty good. But I like a lot of this. I like the balance that you're getting with like the legs and the feet, and then the body itself. And I like how you're moving the body over. You're getting some nice curvature on the spine. Like, I feel like that you could bend a little bit more, but if you do bend it, watch out for it going too far over in this direction. Like, I like how things are centered here. You know, we're getting that balance within where your character is. I think that's a good thing. A couple of things to watch out for. The first thing is just like, you're exploring a lot of ideas on paper. The thing with this pose, and there are other poses, a lot of other poses that you're going to be doing throughout this term and throughout your career as an animator, try to think outside the box a little bit in terms of just like what it means for that specific pose. And like with a pose like this excitement, like it's like that's the first thing everyone thinks of. And so even like if it's excitement with you drop to the floor and did that, or you jump in the air and do that, like the arms up in the air, that tends to be the first thing people think of. But if you just look a little bit outside of the box there and just say, okay, like what else it can make an excitement pose that's not only clear but shows through that my character is doing what they're doing. I mean, I think certain things like what you started doing here is a good example of that. Even here, where stuff where it just doesn't seem as commonplace as some of these other ideas, and that's just something to think about with your poses. Like in all the poses that you do, you don't have to think so far outside the box that it doesn't make sense, but you should think outside the box enough to where it's something unique and fresh and actually shows the character as being unique in that sense, if that makes sense. I can go over more of that later, but that's something that I just want you to start thinking about. But yeah, overall, like the balance is pretty good. One thing is that right here in this area, you're foreshortening the arms so much that we're losing all sort of perspective there. So you want to be careful of that. It's okay to have the arm go in front of the head like that. That's okay. Your hand poses are looking pretty good. I would go tighter in on the thumb. I would just intersect that thumb right into the hand on both of these. But yeah, overall your hand poses are pretty good. But yeah, the arm poses here, like maybe like that, we're not seeing that in silhouette, but then again we're not seeing this one in silhouette either, so it doesn't really matter. But we want it to be clear in in every way. So silhouette might not be so important for this pose because we would still understand that your character is excited just based on the silhouette with this one arm. But we'd also want to make sure that once we don't see that silhouette, that we see that perspective, and we don't get foreshortening that actually like takes away from your character. So, I'm trying to, like, that might be more devastation, like that with the arms up like that. But even, giving some more room to this. The arm goes through here, and this arm does this. Like that way we don't have, so one way to put yourself into that mind of the character is just like, try to think about something that you would get excited about. Like say someone just came in and said, you just won the lottery or whatever, just anything that would make you excited, and instantly just like try to get in that pose, or watch someone's reaction. Try to go tell them. That's a terrible prank to tell someone they won the lottery and they didn't. But just look at that first reaction. And a lot of times with poses, I tend to see animators go too far in a direction that doesn't make sense because they overthink it. And if you go into an excitement pose like that, you're just like instantly like, whoa, I just won. Like you're doing stuff like that. And the arms aren't necessarily doing two completely different things. They're usually doing something together. And you want to avoid twinning. You don't want to make them look exactly the same, but you also want them to be genuine enough to where that would feel like a natural reaction. So yeah, those are all things to think about. And I think with this pose, you could clarify that a little bit better. But yeah, that's it, Carlos. Overall, you did a good job, and everything came together. Your timing and spacing, your ball bounce is looking good. Just remember, presentation is a big, important thing, and with your pose, that clarity is very, very important as well. All right, that's it. Thanks.